Hey, it's Jag, and I'm going to learn how to uncup the tops. You might get lighted on fire.
Yeah.
In the last video, I mentioned how I was gluing the two pieces of the tops together because all four of the pieces were cupped. Today I'm going to learn how to uncup those. I've done some research on that, and I think the best way to do it is going to be to use a heat gun. These tops have been sitting in my garage for about 4 or 5 years, and they've absorbed moisture more on one side than the other. They were stickered, but still it just happened. So they have cupped. So what that means is it's absorbed more moisture on the side that's crowned than on the side that's concave. So the idea is that you can take a heat gun and you put the crown side up and you heat that board and evaporate some of that water out of it until it flattens. You have to be careful when you're doing that. If you go too far, you'll dry that side more and then it will cup the opposite way. So today, this is what I'm doing. So here are my two book-matched flame maple tops. I have the slightly thicker one here and the thinner one here. I love the look of this one here. It's darker and the figuring, I think, will stand out quite a bit more when it's done. But this one has a really sort of understated look all its own and going darker to lighter. So both of these look great. I've measured them. They're plenty wide enough for my guitar blank, and they are also long enough that I actually can get 4 tops out of these. Here is the darker set, and you can see if we follow this up that it's a little bit of a convex curve on one or both of those, so those will need to be straightened. And then if you look here, you can see this one is cupped, so I'll need to turn this over and put some heat on what's right now the bottom side. Here's the other side of that pair. This one's actually fairly flat, just a little bit of a cup. So we'll get that out as well. And here's the light pair. This is also the thinner set. And you can see that seam is already pretty good up the middle. But it could be tighter, so I will joint that one again. And the figuring, particularly up at the top, looks really great on this one. So I'm really happy. I'm going to get 4 tops out of this. And again, here you can see this one is cupped quite a bit. You can see the crown is at the top on this one. And on the right side piece, same thing. It's cupped. The crown is up on this. So we'll get the heat gun out and we will see what we can do about flattening these. So I'm going to start with the thinner pair. I figure because they're thinner, they'll probably heat and lose their moisture a little faster. They're not that much thinner, maybe an 1/8 of an inch. But I figured I would try them, and definitely hoping not to get lighted on fire. I'm going to start with it on high heat, but keep some distance from the board. We'll see how that works. Okay, well, this is going really well so far. The thinner pair are now very flat. I don't think you can get things perfectly flat this way, and that's not what I'm going for. What I want is when I put these through the table saw to joint them, I want the edges to be as square as possible so they'll joint up nice. And there's virtually no cup left in either of these. There's a little bit of twisting and whatnot to them. They're quite thin, so I don't expect them to be perfectly flat. I'm going to set these two aside for now, and I will get on to doing the bigger ones. I'm really happy with how this is going. Oh, one other thing that I found was when I started doing this, I was doing it with the grain. I had the boards up this way and was doing it with the grain. I did the first one that way until it was flat. It took a lot longer to do it that way. What I ended up doing with the second one was turning it sideways like this, and then just going very slowly, again on high heat with the end of the heating gun about an inch off the board, and then just going very gradually across the board. Basically, I was trying to do about 4 or 5 inch sections at a time and just work from one end to the other and then back. What it seemed like was if I did that and I was very patient and did it slowly, worked all the way to one end and then worked my way back, it was flat by the time I was done. So there's a little tip. Go across the grain, not with the grain. Well, that went really, really well. It was about maybe 45 minutes to an hour for all 4 of these. They're all much flatter, flat enough that I'm confident to joint them and glue them up now. So I'll just show you what's happened here. So there is a little bit of a bow in a couple of these. I'm not worried about that. That will clamp out really easily. It's nothing to be concerned about. These are as close to dead flat as I can get them. So I'll show you that right now. The thicker pair. And you can see that cup is virtually gone. And same thing on this side. This is the one that started out pretty flat already. And this pair, the thinner pair, which was very cupped, is very, very close to perfectly flat right now. So I'm really happy with that. One of the things I learned when I was researching this is they said joint them and glue them up as soon as possible after you get them flat in case they decide to move again. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set up the table saw, get it ready for the jointing. I'm going to take a short break. Then I'll come back, see if they've moved at all. Maybe just hit them briefly with the heat gun again, just to make sure they're as flat as I can get them. Then I will joint them and we'll glue them up. All right, well, I've taken a break and the wood still seems flat enough, so I'm not going to hit it again with the heat gun. I'm going to run it across the table saw. So I've already set up and jigged up. I've got my my auxiliary fence here as well. This is for my long straight rip. The idea of this is a perfectly straight piece of MDF here, and I can run the entire length of my board along this auxiliary fence, and the 2 highest points will ride against this board and give me a straight cut. So I'm going to cut the outside of these to make them straight and square, and we'll cut the joint. All right, well, that seems to have worked out really quite well, especially the thinner ones have a very, very tight joint. The thicker one looks just fine to me. The 2 pieces are slightly different thicknesses, so just very slightly. So I'll have to do some sanding, but I'm going to glue these together this way. So I'll get set up here and we're going to do glue up. Well, I've done a dry fit of the tops, and it's looking good. I'm definitely going to have some sanding or flattening to do. So I'll show you the dry fit. There's the thicker top, and you can see the seam right here. And we'll follow that all the way up. So mostly what you're seeing, the joint is really tight. Where you're seeing the line, that's a little bit of shadow because there's a bit of step there. Not too much. Anyway, here's the other one. This is a really, really good fit. This one may end up being the top just because of how good it is. I like the look of the other one better, but this one right now, it just is spectacular. So here we are. The seam is right here, and it looks great all the way up. You can't even feel it. So up there you can see it, but it's a very tight fit. Just a little bit of sanding and or planing, and it will be good to go. I'm going to get set up for this glue up. I have my router table here for one, and then the extra work area over here. I only have eight of these pipe clamps, and then I've got 6 other clamps, just regular F clamps, that are just long enough to clamp in between. So I'll go 4 pipe clamps, 3 F clamps on each. So I'm going to get set up for that, and we'll be right back. Okay, well, the other one's curing over to my right, over here on the big bench. I have the shorter two, and we're going to glue these up here. Can't get quite as near to the end as I kind of think I should, but hopefully that will work out okay. The other one's not too close to the ends either, and the ends are very tight, so I could see squeeze out there. So I think we're okay. At that end up there will be a neck end, so that wood at that seam will disappear anyway. And down here there'll be some trimming and sanding, so I don't think it's going to be an issue. So there's a bit of an issue on this one. This is the short one. It's also the thicker top. And what the issue is, there's a little dip just sort of in the first sort of quarter of this one. As I said, I thought I might be able to get two tops out of these, and this might not be an issue here because this one, I actually like the look of it. Sort of in the middle. In other words, this spot that has this dip may become waste or end up being used for something else. So I'll just show you that. So here's the seam, and it's nice and smooth here, and then I can sort of feel that this starts to dip right here, and it goes to about here. So overall, probably 12 inches, and then from here on it's perfectly smooth all the way up. And I really like the way this looks from about here up to about here. So this may be the top anyway, and this part may be waste. Like I say, this one's the thicker one, so I can probably hand plane that down. That's a pretty big step there, so we'll figure that out when we get to making our decision on which top we're going to use. Here in front of me is the one that I glued up first. You can see the glue line right now because it's still a little wet from when I wiped it off, but it came out really good and is really smooth. This one I'll definitely get two tops out of, and it's going to look great. So I'll show you that. So here's the seam, and we go all the way across, and it's very smooth, just as smooth as the blanks were. So a little sanding, and this is going to be perfect. So, and all the way up. So there's that one, and there's the other one. Well, it's next morning now, and the glue has been able to cure on these tops overnight, so I just thought we'd declamp them and get a look. Well, they're looking good. Need to do cleanup and sanding, but they're definitely glued solid. They look good. You can see that one there. I'll pick up the handheld in a minute. Need to clean the squeeze out off the bottom. And here's the darker pair. So on this darker pair, this little step right here is mirrored on the other side, so these just didn't line up so nice. It's smooth here and smooth here, but right in here is where that little bit of a divot is. Actually, it's not a little bit of a divot, it looks like it's about 1/16 of an inch. I like the look of it best right in here anyway, from here up to about here. So this may be my top, and then this will get used for something else. I'll get the handheld and we'll give you a better look at this. There's the planer of the two tops, the thin ones, and it's lighter. Turned out really well. If you look here, you can see the seam there, and we go all the way up, and it's looking good. It's nice and solid. That top has turned out quite well. Here is the darker set, the thicker one with the little problem right here. So again, there's the seam starts right there, and you follow that up. You can see where that big step is, and then it smooths out. That's where the grain gets really nice looking too. So, and all the way to the top. So again, it's just as smooth as the other one, all the way down till you get to here, and then this whole section here has that sort of dip on the one side. This definitely, I think, will be probably cut right about here, and then the top will actually go from here to about here. I like that figuring anyway. That's definitely my favorite of it. I'm calling that a success, even though we have that one little issue on this this set of tops. I suppose another thing I could do is cut this into two tops, slice this one up the middle again, and work a little more on flattening that, getting that flat and clamp it a little better. That's an option. I may decide to do that as well. That's the tops glued up and ready to go on the body blanks. I hope you found this video entertaining and interesting. If you're interested in my band One Soul Thrust, the links to our Patreon page are below as always. Please check us out. And if you like what you hear there, consider supporting us. Like always, until the next video, thanks for watching, and we'll see you.